museum?
So my friend and I went to visit the H.J. Lutcher Stark Center for Physical Culture in Austin, Texas in 2012, 9 years ago from today. I don't think I ever intended for this video that I shot that day to be uploaded to YouTube. It was just for personal use because as you can see, it's not the greatest videography job. I remember using a Kodak ZI-8 camera, and that tells you how old this video is. But there's still a lot of really interesting things to look at around the museum, despite the fact that the videography is not that great. We were speaking quietly, my friend and I, because this is a museum and there were people around. It had the feel of a library. When you first walk in, there's a 10.5 foot replica of the original Farnese Hercules statue to greet you. 10.5 feet. You can't believe it unless you actually see it in person. The Farnese Hercules is a symbol for the modern athlete. According to Terry Todd, more on Terry here in a little bit, the Farnese Hercules is at the Stark Center to serve as a reminder of the importance of physical culture and human culture. I love that. At the Stark Center, the Farnese can be perceived as the physique modern athletes and people can achieve. And then there are different sections of the museum. We're going to focus mainly on the Joe and Betty Weider Museum of Physical Culture. There are some Steve Reeves things to see here, so let's continue on.
Arnold was here last month, and what we're looking at is a painting that was done for Joe Weider. And right below that is a 1,500-pound dumbbell.
1,560 pounds. It's 100 years old.
100 years old.
It's a stage dumbbell for strongman Warren Lincoln Travis. He lifted it.
Look at all the beer steins up there.
Now that's how you do muscle building.
That's how you do it.
So right here, you're looking at Legends of the Iron Game by Bill Pearl, George and Tuesday Coates, and Richard Thornley Jr. And I'm reading from Bill Pearl's website, where as of today, November 4th, 2021, these are still available. You can also find them on Amazon as of today and eBay. All three perfect bound volumes in a slipcase. I have my own copy, and as you can see there, it's autographed by Bill Pearl, who is still with us, even though he's around 90 years old. I don't know if he's autographing things anymore, so I feel very fortunate to get his autograph. There's 3 volumes. Volume 1 has Charles Atlas, John Grimmick, Jack and Elaine Lalonde, Steinborn, and other strongmen and women of vaudeville, Sandow. And volume 2 has vintage coverage of the golden age of the Iron Game. Steve Reeves, Reg Park, Vince Gironda, Jack Dellinger, Clarence Ross, Bill Pearl, Tommy Kono, Paul Anderson, Doug Hepburn, Larry Scott, Pat Casey, Sergio Oliva, etc., profusely illustrated with wonderful photographs, many of which have rarely been seen, will delight all who read these books. And once again, I'm reading the description from billpearl.com. Volume 3 showcases the leading male and female bodybuilders from the 70s and on, packed with hundreds of terrific photographs. This volume also chronicles the history of the world's most illustrious bodybuilding contests, the top photographers, writers, and historians. Muscle Beach, the Association of Old Time Barbell and Strongman, and the Oscar Heidenstam Foundation. Take a stroll through the York Barbell Hall of Fame and Stark Center for Physical Culture and Sports at the University of Texas, Austin. World-renowned writer David P. Webster has provided a colorful chapter on the history of the Scottish Highland Games. Once again, these are available at billpearl.com. They are awesome.
Hi, how's it going?
Man, that looked like good times right there.
Yeah, Draper's still around.
Yeah, he's doing it right.
He writes stuff every week.
He's a great writer.
His wife just sent me a DVD they did.
What's on the DVD?
It's called Intervention, and it's by Dan Jones.
Hi.
Hi there, how are you guys?
Good. How's it going?
As we were walking around, we saw Jan Todd. You can hear her greeting us, and you can hear me asking if we can say hello to her, which we were able to do. Jan Todd is an amazing woman, married to Terry Todd, both of them Ph.D.s. Terry passed away in 2018, just 6 years after we met him. Jan is a professor in the Department of Kinesiology and Health Education at the University of Texas in Austin, and so was her husband, Terry. The Todds are responsible for bringing the H.J. Lutcher Stark Museum to life. They have worked tirelessly to gather memorabilia, grants, and donations for the museum. Jan deserves her own video, but today I'm just going to introduce you to her if you don't know of her already via this video. On a side note, if you happen to have seen the Rogue Invitational this past weekend, once again, this is November 4th, 2021, you would have noticed Jan overseeing the Strongman event, which had such participants as J.F. Caron, Rob Kearney, Brian Shaw, and others. They competed in strongman events such as the Wheel of Pain, the deadlift, and other strongman events. Here's some random photos of Jan as a strength athlete, and at one time, one of the strongest, if not the strongest, woman in the world. Also, Rogue recently released a documentary on Terry Todd entitled The Commissioner of Power. Terry was a strongman and highly competitive. He played a huge role in bringing strongman events back to the public eye in the 1980s and beyond.
We'd like to say hello to you in a second if you get a chance.
Just give me a sec.
Young Jack Lane. John Grimmett.
Sig Klein Circus Barbell. Yeah, it is. These are all the beer steins right here. When you're a baby, you drink milk. When you grow up, you gotta drink beer. Pudgy Stockton.
There's the only barbell of its kind in the world.
Yeah, that's it.
The big one is right here. It's always been my favorite photo.
I know what you're saying. I got you. That is actually kind of cool. Let me get another one though if you want.
Well, the photos. I don't know David Webster.
No, I haven't heard that name either.
Can you imagine looking at that? 40 books.
pleased to see it, and he remembered, you know, posing for it. He said, but I never went by and I never saw it.
Yeah, I remember Bill Wyman from Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, of course, a lot of people don't know that Willie Nelson, Ben's iron, besides playing the music. But he says it keeps it strong for the guitar picking that he does. And
It's those herbs, I think.
yeah, I think that's right.
I knew he was a black belt,
Yeah.
and I knew that he did weight training, and,
Yeah, he
all
does,
kinds of
and
stuff.
runs, and a lot of running. He doesn't do that as much now.
I
Needs
don't know
a lot
how
of
he goes
that.
for, but I do know that he does a lot of things well.
Yeah, yeah. And so, I try to get everybody to believe that was.
And were these in the,
They were
the
They were in HRC, yes, upstairs in the HRC.
Right.
And then they got moved to the Blanton, and the Blanton had all of these that I have on display. They had them all in the cellar, in storage. Nobody could see them, and so I knew they were there, so, and I knew they were not going to display. And so I just went over and made the argument there. And the ones in the other room too.
Well, it's amazing how long it took them to do an art museum. When I was in art school, you couldn't show more than 5% of their holdings.
I know.
95% is in storage all the time.
That's the way. Hey Dennis.
I guess we ought to grab a bite on our way out.
I can get you in if I Okay. Yeah. Would you say that again? What? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I figured that's, I figured that's what I was hoping we wouldn't get that. Not surprised. Maybe you can help it a little bit. Oh, of course I would, yeah. How many calls you got in a little ball, by the way? I got a couple of visitors here. Okay. Okay.
Well, thanks for the tour, we're gonna grab a bite.
All right, yeah, nice to meet you.
Good seeing you, man. Y'all did a great job on that. That is just, I tell you, I'm not gonna forget that. ever.
No, that was good. I'm glad that we got good video of the speeches we were able to put.
Toward the end of this video, Terry Todd so graciously gave us a private tour of the museum and took us into the private back room where a lot of these photos were taken. I'm very, very fortunate to have met Mr. Todd and his wife, Jan. The museum was closed for a while due to COVID, but it is currently reopened, and more info at starkcenter.org.